Hello and welcome to ValTALK. I am excited about our episode 5. This is our first in-person, actually, ValTALK guest, and it's Michelle Rogers, a good friend of mine from New American Funding. And Michelle, I'll let you let our listeners know who you are and your role at New American Funding, and maybe tell us a little bit about the company.
Well, thanks, Jeff, for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course.
My name is Michelle Rogers. I am the Chief Valuation Officer at New American Funding. I've been there a little over 13 years, and we pretty much do approximately 5,000 to 6,000 volume of appraisals a month.
Okay.
And then we
Nationwide?
Nationwide,
okay.
And we use AMCs, and we have our own internal panel that we use.
Okay.
And I'm an appraiser by trade.
Yes.
So I've been doing that forever.
Okay, good. And your company, New American Funding, is a minority-owned company, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
Patty,
that's good.
Rick Arviella,
Okay,
minority owned.
that's good. That's awesome. Well, before we get into some questions, I'm going to ask a personal question, and because I ask all the guests this question, and it is, if you had not become an appraiser, what career would you think you would have pursued, or where would you be doing?
I always wanted to go into law enforcement.
Really?
Are you shocked?
Yes.
He's totally shocked. I love it when I can talk.
Wow. Like a police officer?
FBI, police,
Okay.
and a little bit of
CSI, just kind of like investigation.
totally that
Okay.
that person. Does that make sense now?
It does. It does. Well, and to think about it, as appraisers, we're kind of like detectives, right?
Exactly.
Figuring stuff out. It's like
That's
that
what I
whole
love
like
about it.
solving the problem, right? The appraisal problem.
Yes, or creating more problems.
Creating more problems as we solve the problem. Exactly. Wow, that's good. Okay, that makes sense. I do watch a lot of Dateline in 2020, so probably I would want to figure
Might
things
be
out.
on there.
Hopefully in a good way. Hopefully in a positive light, not in a bad light. Most people on there aren't good. Okay. All right. Let's talk some appraisal talk now. So, well, one of the big things right now is we know we got UAD 3.6. For those that don't know, that is our new appraisal data set that's going to affect pretty much every appraisal report that's going into the GSEs, which is Freddie and Fannie, followed by VA and FHA. So we know that is coming, but most of us, at least on my side, have focused more on the appraisal side, the software and training and all that. But I'd like to get your perspective from the lender side. You've been involved. Well, you've been there 13 years, so you've seen a lot of changes, a lot of, shifts in the business and valuation. But now, this is probably the biggest one, I would say. It's one of the biggest since I've been in the business, which is, since the dawn of time. But I would say because of this, what do you think are some of the biggest operational gaps that you still see lenders struggling with as they get ready for this November rollout mandate?
I think a lot of lenders aren't set up properly to retain the structure data in their LOS.
Okay.
I think that's a big
The loan
operating system.
Okay.
And they're still thinking about appraisals as documents instead of data set,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
So, and it's
Forms,
a big
right?
shift. Yeah, big
Yeah.
shift and something new to focus on.
Right.
And even beyond that, they're really they're not going to use that. They don't know how to use that data set.
Okay.
So that's going to be a big opportunity to leverage the future insights, things like underwriting consistency, portfolio trends, risk analysis.
Okay.
But, they're just not ready yet.
Right.
So that's a learning curve.
I could see that. And that is something that I think I think it's all going to eventually come together, but it's just a matter of, because it being such a big change, everybody's a little just still learning. And I think you just did something for your company about 3.6, some training, right?
Yeah.
For them, to teach them how to do it. And that's good. I think it's a good role for us as appraisers and you as the valuation officer to kind of educate the company and the underwriters and the reviewers on this tool and get to know it ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a
It's
change.
just the underwriters. It's the processes involved.
Okay, right. That's true.
From order,
That's right.
cradle to
Different.
grave. Yeah, it's the processors. It's ordering it. There's a lot more involved in just the appraisal. It's post-closing. It's the investors. So there's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts that you have to kind of bring together.
Wow,
So.
that's funny. And I think most people don't think of all that stuff, at least not from the appraiser side, but you get both of those. And that, and as we talk about appraisers, since we're both appraisers, I think this is it's not just a shift from the lenders, it's also a shift from how we report appraisals, right? And what we've done with the forms and having kind of our templates and all those kinds of things. A lot of things are changing in that regard. So with all these changes, and let's talk about the appraiser portion of this for a minute. So from your vantage point as national lender, appraiser, how do you see the appraiser's role evolving in the next 5 to 10 years from, with all this more standardized data, increased technology, automation, AI? How do you see that affecting, the role of an appraiser in the next few years?
I really think that it will continue to have a really important, almost irreplaceable role in the valuation process.
Okay.
The business is definitely going to evolve. Reporting will be more standardized, more data-driven, and more automated. But real estate itself is complex.
It is. It is.
Properties age, market shifts, and values fluctuate, and that's where the appraiser's opinion is really going to matter.
I get it. Yeah, that's true.
So what will end up changing is how they operate.
Okay.
Appraisers are going to need to evolve with the technology.
Right.
Get comfortable working in the structure and the heavy, environments, and really reinvent parts of how they deliver value.
Yeah. And it's funny because I think the tools that are out there now, even though they can be a little either intimidating or confusing, ultimately, I think if they're done right, could lead to even more efficiency and better values, like more supported values. I should say. You'll have more data than supposed to. Even our day was like, we just didn't make it up, but it was like, okay, that's the number I like. It fits my number.
Depends on who taught you.
Depends who taught you, like how much per square foot. It was $50, $25 per foot, $4,000 for a bathroom, $3,000 for a bedroom. I mean, that was kind of, a lot of us were taught that way. But now we have tools to say maybe it is still that. But now you have tools to support it. And data is always good, right? So I think we didn't have access a lot of times to appraisal. I mean, when I started, I barely had MLS. I was looking at MLS books. And didn't have any analytics. So I think that's good.
And it depends on who you were taught by.
That's right.
How they taught you.
That's right.
And that was different I think this is going to give us the opportunity to do a very basic structured teaching.
Yes. Consistent.
Yes. Structured, all of that.
Right.
Throughout the industry. So the new people coming in are going to be actually at a full advantage.
Yes.
Because they're all going to be kind of, producing similar results.
Right. Yes. So you won't have one appraiser with one completely different, 50% different from another appraiser on the same property.
Yeah.
They're not going to be exactly the same, but they should at least be in the ballpark if everything's consistent about that property. So that's good. Now, I think that's a really good point, and I'm kind of looking forward to that. It's not going to be, like I said, easy, but appraisers are pretty resilient. We've gone through changes before, not like this, but I think most appraisers are those that want to stay in the business, will evolve and, and so forth. And I think it's good for us as a profession going forward. But that leads me to actually another kind of related question. We're talking about these changes and all that, and we really don't know yet fully how many appraisers are going to do that. Or I know the training, I've been on some training classes with some software vendors, and I get a little confused on the training. I'm like, okay, wait, slow down. Say that one more time. And I know there's new ones coming out as well that are software vendors. But I mean, just from a standpoint of the change in how they're going to be done, do you anticipate there will be either increased fees, or you think there's going to be issues with not having enough appraisers, at least in the short term? I know we don't know exactly, but what do you think that might look like?
Honestly, I don't see the fees changing too much, especially right away.
Okay.
I think that, I look at it this way. I look at it, it's the same level of professional due diligence. Right? So I thought of it like if your dentist was learning a new process on how to do your teeth.
Okay.
And they had to learn a new process. Would you expect to pay more for them to learn?
Okay.
Do that process?
No.
They
charge enough.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm the first to realize that the appraisals are definitely, the cost over the past 15 years. I get that.
Yes.
It has not evolved.
No, it has not
changed.
Right.
And I understand that.
Right.
But it's a market.
Right. It's market driven.
It's market driven.
Yeah.
And so it's very difficult for us to ask a borrower to pay X amount more so that they can learn how to do it. So,
that's an interesting way to look at it. Okay.
My perspective.
All right. Well, we'll see, right? We really don't know.
We don't know. I honestly don't.
Yeah.
We're not, closing the books and saying no way.
Right.
We just don't even know where to go.
Sure. And that's valid. I think that's where we'll know more as we get closer to that date.
Exactly.
I know from the Veral's perspective, because we work with the GSEs and the 3.6 formatting and the submissions, but we are seeing those numbers go up and we are seeing more lenders involved. So that's promising. I think for those that are kind of on the wait and see mode, I think that's a little bit dangerous because it's going to hit you pretty hard if you wait till September or whatever. Yeah. So I know you guys
some of us have been working on it for a long time.
Yeah, I know you guys have. You've been working on this for a while.
We've been trying to figure out the logistics.
Yeah, and it's different. So that's good. And that does lead to another question. I was talking about fees and market. So, you and I both work on the workforce development for our profession. Trying to help trainees and help people. You were just at an event recently with some trainees and somebody I knew that's trying to get into the field. It's still a challenge. We go to these meetings in DC trying to discuss how do we kind of streamline this or make other pathways, because it's difficult. Once you get your classes, we all know you have to either generally find a supervisor, which is tough, and or try to find another pathway that we're trying to create. But that's it. I know that we have this you brought it up, the new data set and the training and the tools that are available. Do you think that's going to create more opportunities for new appraisers as this demand for technology and skills kind of continues to grow?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for the new people coming in.
So not set in their ways, huh?
Yeah, they're two old people.
We're all set in our ways.
We don't really.
We look young at heart. Yes, that's all that matters.
Young at heart. I think it's a great opportunity, actually. Yeah. If that, young blood wants to come in and work hard at it. And they are a little more adaptive to this type of work.
That's true. They grew up with cell phones.
They grew up with this. They grew up with the technology. Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be easier for them.
I think so.
In general.
Sure.
The barriers they have are the same thing we've talked about.
Right.
Supervisory, things like that. So I think this is actually going to be good for them.
Yeah. And I think it may even help with some of the older ones, because the younger ones can maybe help them with the technology. I mean, I've talked to older appraisers who have had, a son or a grandson come in and help them with using AI and mobile apps and things. It's like, show me how to do that, and they're just, I was like, wow, slow down. So, but I think that is a good option. And I agree. I think we are seeing, like I said, we talked about that shift. It's here. It's not just in our profession. It's all professions. I mean, it's a lot of them that are affected by AI and technology that probably not to the level that they had in the past in other professions. Law. I've seen people talk about law. You can get legal information at their fingertips. That you'd have to pay a lawyer for, and all kinds of things. So I think that's a good thing for us as appraisers. We have the skill. Yeah. And how do you make that skill more?
But most appraisers I know adapt pretty well.
We do. We've done that over time.
We've done it so much in the past 30 years.
Yes.
Adapting and adapting and adapting. So I just think this is another stepping stone.
I
agree. It was
agree.
inevitable.
Needed to happen.
We all knew it was coming.
Right, we did. It was long overdue in some ways.
Overdue.
Yes.
Way overdue. So I'm thrilled about it. I think it's going to be a great space to be in right now. Yeah,
and I know one of the things we've talked about, and your company's doing this, other companies are doing this, we talk about like this kind of hybrid appraisal with, an inspection, and then you have maybe a desktop valuation and all those kinds of things that, to me, can help appraisers be more efficient as well. So if you have that data given to you and it's reliable, and you don't have to drive to the property, measure the house, drive around the comps, and you can just focus on that analysis part. I think that would make, and that, to me, that's what I'm looking forward to. I want to sit in my rocking chair and just do appraisals, desktops.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's a skill set too.
Yes,
that's
it is.
You have to know how to dig into the data.
You do.
You need to not skim over the information that's provided to you, because really those data collectors are just collecting the data.
Right.
They're doing the raw data.
That's right.
And they're actually, they have no skin in the game except to provide you that data.
That's right.
So I think that's super important to remember, that when you do those desktops and hybrids, that you really look at the data, analyze the data, analyze everything you have. Yeah. It's all right there at your fingertips.
It's true.
It's true. There's no more like, I have to go down to the city and look at
the county records, look up the.
It's all right.
Oh my God!
You never have to leave your desk.
And even those, a lot of those are online now, right? You can go get that stuff online.
I deal all over the country.
Yeah.
There's very few counties that are not online.
Wow.
And maybe there's just that little
maybe
bit.
remote areas.
And usually you can call them and get that information. So my point is that that's totally viable. And you can totally do it.
Yeah, I think that's good. And I think that will lead to, I was talking about fees earlier. I think honestly what'll probably happen is, as we get more efficient, fees might kind of taper off or maybe drop a little bit. But if you're more efficient, you can actually maybe make more money than if you're doing one appraisal that took you in LA traffic 2 hours just to get there, right? And that's not even counting the time you actually do the appraisal.
Gas.
But if I don't oh my God, gas and freeway, 405 freeway, 5 freeway. People in Southern California know what we're talking about. But that kind of time we spend is not efficient use of time. And so I think we're going to find more efficient ways to do our job. And maybe we don't make as much on one appraisal, but maybe do 4 in the same time it takes to do one.
Exactly.
So, and like I say, be at home, not have to do as much. So I think that's good. All right. We don't have a lot of questions. I know you got a busy schedule. You took time off to come here to Ben. I appreciate it. So when we talk about the workforce development, and we talked about the impact that could have on new people, but what about, like current appraisals? Like, do you think, what are some of the things a current or active appraiser can do now to kind of level up, so to speak, as they say, their skills, and what are some of the things they could be doing right now to kind of just prepare for the future in their profession?
I actually think it's going to impact the appraisers in a big positive way.
Okay.
3.6 is going to give the appraisers opportunity and much more precise and consistent on how they report.
Okay. The standardization.
Yes. And when the data and the reporting are clear structures, it means fewer revisions.
Right.
Fewer back and forth questions. Okay. Fewer revisions, fewer back and forth questions, and less need for explanation.
Right. You're right. And
which is a win for everybody.
It is.
It's a win for the appraiser.
Totally. I hate revisions. That's the worst thing.
Me too.
You hate sending them, and they hate getting them. So it's like a lose-lose. Yes.
Yeah. And that really boils down, for lenders, it boils down to time.
Yes.
And interest rates.
Yes.
And extensions on
stress.
Everybody, and the stress.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, with maybe a more difficult property that requires a little bit more review. We don't want to go back.
No, I know you
don't. We don't want to go back.
Yeah. And, you have to go back to
our jobs are based off of the number of revisions.
Right. Exactly.
Even though people think we are. But we're ultimately responsible for that appraisal.
Right.
And if, we get the repurchase and stuff, it really comes on us.
I know. People don't think about it that way.
People don't know.
And I know I was a reviewer for many years, and it is tough working. I worked for a bank, and you try anything you can to not send a revision. It's like, can I just tweak this? Can I write this? I think they mean this.
This is going to lay it out really nicely.
Yeah, it will.
To where it just makes more sense.
Yeah.
And it's going to be an easy read for everybody.
Yeah.
The underwriters.
That's true.
The post-closers, the investors.
Right. Because everything will be in its right section, not having to flip back and forth for this page to that page. Yeah,
and the appraiser can focus more on the explanation point.
Right.
I think.
Right.
They can really dig into what they really need to talk about.
Right. Instead of just fluff.
Yes.
Less fluff. Less addendum.
Less addendum.
Right. So I think that's good for us. I think that is really one of the things that's going to be probably tougher at the beginning, but easier at the end. It's like, oh my God, I don't have to explain the neighborhood. I don't have to explain that I can just talk about the property and talk about the things affecting that property, the market things. And so I think that's a good thing for us as a profession.
I think it's going to be, I think it's going to elevate the quality of everybody.
Yeah, I think so. And that's what we need, I think, in our profession is more, as an appraiser, I think the profession is kind of taking a hit as far as its relevance or its impact on this overall loan process, right? It's like if they can eliminate the appraiser, but you really need some unbiased third party that can make a decision that's not has an interest, not getting paid based on how high the loan is or how much the volume is. It's just based on the value. And I don't have any skin in the game, so to speak. And I think that's important to have that, especially when you're talking about the largest purchase in people's life, right?
Right.
The home purchase or refi or whatever. So, yeah, that's good.
100%.
You know, we didn't talk about this earlier, but I'll throw this in now. We kind of talked around it, but, you know, we're both happen to be members of the Appraisal Institute and both involved. I'm more involved than I would have been had it not been for you.
You can blame me again.
Getting me involved in this Appraisal Institute, but no, it I think, ironically, interestingly enough, one of the lines on the new form is for designation. It actually has a line for designation, which wasn't in the old form, right? So I think that, among other reasons, I think does show that a certain level of additional education and things that you've done. So just speak about that for a little bit. I don't want to really talk about that much, but tell us a little bit about, you know, your SRA designation. I have an SRA designation with the Appraisal Institute. Do you think that's valuable? Has that been valuable to you? Do you consider to see value in having that designation?
I think it's a really big value add to my career.
Okay.
Not just becoming a chief appraiser,
right,
but how I approached everything I did and how I learned to approach it. And the people that I've met throughout the industry that have really boosted my career. I mean, it wasn't just me. Right. It was going to meetings, new people. Right. You know, COVID really put the botch on that for a while.
It did.
And now we're all starting to come out again. Right. And it's just, you know, when this is your profession and this is your livelihood and it's more than 8 hours a day, you know, you want to connect with those other people.
Right.
So for
Comes in handy.
The Institute, whether you have a designation or not, the Institute's definitely a great place to further that career. Yeah. Because you're going to meet those people. And then you're going to get in, you're going to want to get your designation. Right. So that was how I was. I sat there for a while and did stuff for a while, for about 10 years, and then I got my designation.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
In
Okay.
2010. So I've been involved, but I really never took that next step. Okay. And then I had a mentor that said, "What are you doing? Yeah. What are you waiting for?" Right. Like, yeah. And the minute I got my SRA, it really boosted me. Yeah. Not only just in the realm, but the way I felt about myself.
Sure. No, I agree. I got mine really late in life. That goes to show there's never too late if you're thinking about getting that designation. I'd been appraising a good 25 years before getting my designation. But I would say after that time, it's been nice. The people I've met, we talk about the people. It's, you know, the organization, you know, every organization has their issues, but I think ultimately the people that we meet, like in our chapter in Southern California, really wonderful people that we've interacted with and got to know, and they're always available, you know, to help us with things. So, but that leads me to my last question, and this will be it for today, and I thank you for being on again. What advice would you give, advice to lenders and appraisers? So, you know, if there was one piece of advice you would give to lenders preparing for 3.6 and this future data set, what would that be?
I would say really, really figure out how that data can be used.
Okay.
How it can be beneficial.
Gotcha.
I mean, there's a lot of, you know, whether it's knowing what the markets are doing or what, you know, get deep dive.
You can extract all that.
You can extract that information
through
your systems.
Right.
And you're going to be able to see maybe there's higher risk areas and whatever's going on out there. Okay. That data is going to help you become better and look at your risk set and things like that.
Make better decisions on the lending side. Yep. That's good. Okay. And then one last question. What about appraisers? So current appraisers or maybe a trainee, what are some skills you think they should maybe prioritize to stay relevant, and how we stay relevant in this new 3.6 world that we're headed to?
Gosh. I think that, again, trainees have they got the hand up on it all.
Right.
Because they get to learn from the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
I still love that idea.
Yes.
I love that. We've got to accept that we need them.
Right. We do.
And like you said, maybe they can teach us some things too.
Right.
So that balance is going to be great for the old and the new.
That's right.
I don't like to say the old, but
seasoned.
The veterans.
The veterans.
Veterans.
That's right.
But so I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
I think it's needed. I don't see a negative to it all.
Right. And what about the veterans? Like, what advice would you give them that are kind of maybe a little apprehensive, maybe a little nervous, maybe a little, I don't know if I want to stay in this profession kind of thing? What would you tell them to encourage?
I love the profession.
Yeah.
So I will probably always be in it.
Yeah.
As long as I can.
Same here.
I mean, that's a tough.
Every time I try to get out, they keep dragging me back in. I haven't been able to get out.
But I understand.
Yeah.
Not wanting to do it again.
Right.
I understand that.
Yes.
I've talked to several of those people.
Yes.
Had those people, they just say, I'm not going to do it. And I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
So I don't have that words of wisdom, except it's all going to be great. I feel like as much as I've been spending time on the form, I'm feeling more comfortable.
Yes.
Not necessarily writing it, but I have to read it.
Yes.
So the reading part's
that helps.
It's helpful.
Yeah.
And we're doing all this training for our underwriters, processors, post-closers. I'm getting to spend more time with the report, and I'm feeling way more comfortable than I did, say, even 3 or 4 months ago.
Good. Okay. All right. Well, Michelle, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for being on this episode of ValTALK, episode 5, and joining me here in our Veral's headquarters in person. Glad to have you here.
Beautiful.
And so with that, I'm going to wrap up. I'm Jeff Hogan, Chief Appraiser of Valligent, and I want to encourage you to, if you haven't already done so, subscribe on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube, and check out our last episode, which is with Chief Appraiser of the VA, James Hazlett. And thanks for joining us.